Yes, guys. Wow. Just another normal day in the world of Newcastle United. Welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news. I'll be honest, I didn't think I was going to get time for this video today. I'm out and about a lot with work today, but I had to do it. I had to jump on. Hence, the drive and talk video you were getting from me today. Thoughts and comments down below straight away on the fact that Newcastle have announced that Paul Mitchell, sporting director, will be leaving the club. Paul Mitchell, who, if I'm honest, has come under a fair bit of criticism since he got here for not really, I think, delivering. I think has been let off the hook for a lot of the issues on PSR, but a lot of people were expecting a big summer window from him. Well, not anymore, because he's gone. And this is at the same time we're getting articles coming out. Newcastle could have, with no PSR issues, targeting PSR teams, potentially as much as 200 to 250 million to spend this summer. Well, it won't be him spending it, because he won't be here. Let me know I think there's so much to get into here. Was this decided this weekend? Or is this something that's been known for a while, but was held off till the end of the season? We know that the owners were in Newcastle this weekend. Big Yasser of the PIF was on the pitch. Jamie Rubin was on the pitch. Reports were that Eddie Howe and the owners were having a conversation straight after the game about transfers. Was Paul Mitchell there? Was he not allowed in that meeting? Was there a falling out? Is that what caused his time to leave? Have the owners gone? Honestly, mind blown. Thoughts and comments down below. As I say, it is an interesting one because I think Paul Mitchell hasn't been I was going to say hasn't been great, but it's really tough. It has been a hard one to keep up with all of the issues of PSR. He was fairly scathing when he actually joined. Effectively said that what Amanda Murdad and Eddie Howe had done wasn't fit for purpose. Not normally the way you would start a job, slagging off your boss. And then really since then, Eddie Howe hasn't really held too many punches with Paul Mitchell as well. So I think behind the scenes, it's always been thought that maybe the pair didn't get on. Eddie Howe himself has also, I think, changed in how he's approached meetings and discussed transfers. I think for some time, Eddie Howe was quite careful to never really overspeak or overstretch, often defending maybe even Paul Mitchell at times, or the owners at times. Really doesn't want to give too much. Of late, Eddie Howe has been, in my eyes, very strong with his words. And it was actually one of you guys put a comment on a video saying there's nothing like a health scare or a trip to a hospital to make you realise or to reevaluate what you're doing. And maybe Eddie Howe thought, you know what it is? I worked damn hard for this club. I put blood, sweat, tears into this club, fighting illness for this club. And, maybe he doesn't feel like he's been given the tools that he should have been given up till now. And I think maybe that's Eddie Howe kind of laying down his marker and saying, look, I worked damn hard for you guys. I want to be treated the same. I want to be supported this time round. So I think it really is. Sorry, someone's doing a 3-point turn in the middle of a dual carriageway, so I'm just slightly perplexed. Is he coming out, or I don't know. Yeah, the love of talking and driving. Has this been pre-planned? Was this decided yesterday? What happens next? What I would say is, up till now, we've just won the first cup in a very long time. We've just got Champions League. Fair enough, the windows up till now haven't been perfect, but Shearer statue getting moved, the stack, really, and even Dan Ashworth leaving. At the time it's a bit of oh my god, and then in reality it worked out well. I don't think Paul Mitchell leaves with a particularly, like, I mean, I don't think, has it affected his reputation? It's really hard to tell what happens when you don't do anything for a year and a half, you know? So, yeah, is it a positive? Are they going to say to Eddie Howe, you know what, Eddie, we've tried these sporting directors. They didn't really do much, did they? He has 250 million. You did all right with Bruno Byrne so far. Botman, do you want to just have another crack? And they'll give Eddie Howe what he's been asking for? Possibly. One of the things that in the statement is Paul Mitchell kind of saying, you know, oh, well, we knew that Darren Eales would be leaving, and, you know, almost hints to the fact that maybe it was planned because he was the one he wanted to work with. I don't know what to make of that. I think that sounds like a pretty easy cop-out. I left because I like Darren. So I really don't know. It could be true. It could be true. Maybe Paul Mitchell feels like he's fighting a battle between Eddie Howe and maybe Darren's on his side. But now that Darren's lead, the owners like Eddie, Eales likes Mitchell. Now that his kind of guy who helps him's going, you know, we really don't know, and it's going to be tough to go into it fully, or maybe we'll never find out. But what will be interesting is the next steps, and what do Newcastle have planned. Presumably, we don't have time, or won't, unless there's someone literally stood in the other room. I mean, we've seen this at Newcastle before in recent years. Harvey Barnes stood in the other room while Eddie Howe says we've got nothing planned. You know, Paul Mitchell's making a statement in one room and we've got the new sporting director stood in the other. Maybe that's fully true, and they've been planning this summer. I don't know. I do not know. But one thing that Craig Hope from the Daily Mail is reporting is that Newcastle were actually looking for a new technical director. You know, my God. I remember the days when we used to just talk about the footballers. Now you've got to know who all of the ground staff are. Like, the reports are that they were looking to bring in a technical director to work alongside Paul Mitchell's sporting director and what's James Bunt's? Is he injury director? Maybe we should all get, what a title, where's my title? But yeah, there's so much going on there. Maybe Paul Mitchell spit his dummy out because they're bringing in someone else to look after him. Now maybe he's a free spirit and wants to do his own thing, and he's kind of found himself in a place where they're maybe monitoring him. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't done a lot in the last few transfer windows, so maybe that's why. You know what, I don't want to be too overly the top, like, negative on what Paul Mitchell did. I don't think he walks out by saying, look at all the great things I did. I think he walks out saying, probably, I didn't have time and I wasn't able to have the resources due to PSR. He has brought in a couple of youngsters. You know, time will tell. You know, we've seen obviously Yankuba Minter go away and score for Brighton, but I think he was before his time anyway. That was like, I guess, an Ashworth signing. So, yeah, I'm going to kind of leave it there. You'll have to just let me know what you think about this Paul Mitchell stuff. You know, could it be a positive? Have the owners said, you know what, Eddie, do whatever you want. Get Murdad back. Get him on the Championship Manager on his laptop. Right, Eddie, here's what we're going to do. Because it worked that time, how sustainable that was. It did essentially cause PSR issues because of that, but had we not done it, would we have been relegated that season? So, you know, it was a real flip of the coin at the time. Yeah, this is like a genuine reaction on my phone as it was mentioned on the radio there. So I'm going to go. Thoughts and comments on Paul Mitchell leaving. If you've enjoyed this very, very raw Two Tuesdays, drop a like. There'll be plenty more of it to come. As I say, the season's over. But my God, when you're a Newcastle fan, there's always something happening. And I guess what we do now is wait to see what happens next. New sporting director, or is it Eddie's transfer window to shine? I kind of like that, actually. Because as I say, I think Eddie Howe's been quite strong, and I think he doesn't feel like he's been given the tools. You know, is this Eddie's chance to go and do whatever? So much pre-season, we're going to career and all sorts. I don't know how Eddie's going to have time for it, but unless, as I say, a sporting director's announced tomorrow morning, that also wouldn't surprise me either. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.